नित्यमच्युत पदाम्बुज युग्मरुग्म व्यामोहतस्तदितराणि तृणाय मेने अस्मद्गुरोर्भगवतोऽस्य दयैकसिन्धोः रामानुजस्य चरणौ शरणं प्रपद्ये. Swami Ramanuja, the foremost Acharya in Sri Vaishnava Sampradaya, was hailed as the only means for the salvation of we the Jivatmas. He performed Sharanagati to the lotus feet of Sri Ranganatha and pleaded for moksham. He did not stop with moksham for himself. He was not selfish. He was so large-hearted, generous, magnanimous that he requested to Sri Ranganatha to grant moksham to all the Atmans in the present and in the future. Even we, who live 1,000 years after Swami Ramanuja, have the privilege of mukti through the request of Swami Ramanuja. The system that he established, which we popularly and respectfully call as Pancha Samskaram and Ramanuja Sambandham, is so effective today. Any Jivatma, irrespective of the way he had been born, he had led his life, he can be assured that once he reaches an Acharya, repents for his past, and aspires to reach moksham, would be certainly blessed by one of the 74 Simhasanadhipatis. They perform Panchasamskara on this destitute, raise him to the level of a mumukshu, and reach him to the lotus feet of Ramanuja. We have two categories of Acharyas. Our Acharya, who we directly approach, is called as Upakaraka Acharya. The ultimate Acharya, Ramanuja, is hailed as Uttaraka Acharya. Our Acharya helps us and guides us to the feet of Ramanuja. That's the help that he extends. So he is called as Upakaraka Acharya. Once our Acharya hands us over to Ramanuja, Swami Ramanuja takes over and releases us from the bonds, from our asha and pasham from this samsara, and guides us to Sri Vaikuntha. As he pulls us out of samsara, he is called an Uttaraka Acharya. Uttaranam, who helps in crossing over. Where in a big samsara, Ramanuja helps us to cross over. So he is the Uttarika Acharya. There are many Upakaraka Acharyas, but only one Uttaraka Acharya. When we are so many Atmans from different background, with different awareness, with varying levels of dedication, how did Ramanuja manage to balance all? How was he able to treat them all equally? He was an Acharya who respected Samata. Samata is equality. He was able to realize the intent of Bhagavan's Shastrams. The intent of Shastram is to treat all equally, is to make one Atman as the same, is to make all Atmans realize that they all belong to Sriman Narayana and their destination is Sri Vaikuntha. This is the intent of the Shastras. They do not discriminate between Atman per se. There may be differentiation in terms of our bodies, but there cannot be any discrimination based on the Atman which is devoid of the body. One must know to have two different views. One, to see the Atman along with the body. Then there is bound to be differentiation and discrimination. The other vision is to look at the Atman devoid of the body. If we are able to achieve it, then there is no discrimination, no differentiation. All the Atman are equal. They are different, but they are not different in terms of their body. They cannot be discriminated in terms of their wealth, birth, education, or anything that is material. This was the intent of the Dharma Shastras, of all the Vedas and the preachings of Sri Krishna in Bhagavad Gita. Ramanuja realized this intent. He wanted to make this world to follow this intent. So he planned it so well, he executed it so well. We are going to spend some time in knowing how did Ramanuja practice equality and how did he want his disciples too to practice the same great quality of equality. When we say equality, the word quality is a part of the word equality. So equality by itself is a great quality. Bhagavan Shri Krishna in Bhagavad Gita mentions in 3 different chapters 3 different higher levels of equality. One in chapter 5, again in chapter 6, and again in chapter 13. These are 3 different stages of realization about equality. First, in chapter 5, Bhagavan Shri Krishna assures, he establishes that all Atman are equal. Please note, when I say that all Atman are equal, it doesn't mean there is only one Atman. Atmans are countless. We cannot count. Nammalvar in his Thiruvaimozhi says, Enberu Kannalathu, One Porul, Eerila, One Pugal Naranan Thinkadal Chere. Enberu Kannala Thun Porul, Eerila, Eer, a limit. Eerila, limitless, countless. Eer, the end. A count, a limit. There is no count for Jivatma. They are countless, innumerable, infinite. Asankheya. Don't we say in Sanskrit as Sankhya, a number. Asankhya or Asankheya, that cannot be numbered. Neither the auspicious attributes of Sriman Narayana can be numbered. They are also countless. Similarly, the number of Atmans are also countless. But the matter here is, although they are countless, they are all equal. They are similar. They are not one, but they are similar. Swami, are they similar? When I look at so many people, they don't look similar. They don't look because our vision is limited to seeing the Atman along with the body. We don't have a vision today to remove the body and look at the Atman, the very Atman. If we are able to do that, then we will realize that all Atmans are equal. But it takes a while. It's a little difficult process to look at. Ramanuja was able to achieve that. So he wanted to implement that in this world. What did he do? He first talked about chapter 5. Let me tell the sloka in chapter 5. Then on in 6. In chapter 5, Krishna establishes that all Atmans are equal in nature. Not with the body, but in their very nature, in their inherent nature, Atmans are equal. Then, in the 6th chapter, he talks about we realizing this nature. He says they are equal. Then he also says, Oh Arjuna, you must realize that all are equal. Many things will be there in this world, but we may not know them. We may not be aware. There are so many countries in the globe. Have we visited all the countries? Do we know what is that country about? Do we know the people and their culture? We do not. Similarly, let the Atmans be countless in number. Is there a need that I must know that? No need at all. Is it not enough that I know about myself? It's becoming difficult to know me, Swami. Then why should I know about the other Atmans? And why should I spend time knowing that all are equal? There is a need to it. So Krishna in chapter 6 says, why should you realize equality? What is the pressing need for you to know equality? Then in the 13th chapter, he finally says, one who realizes equality reaches me. If you realize, you reach me. That talks about the fruit, the result, the accomplishment of the knowledge about equality. Equality was established in chapter 5. The need to know equality was established, was reiterated in chapter 6. The result of knowing equality was told in chapter 13. Is it not well structured? It is so well structured by Krishna. It is done. But the only simple issue is, one is in chapter 5, other is in 6, and the last one is in 13. Even if we are told consecutively, we will forget. Whereas Krishna chose to do it in chapter 5, then on to 6, and then to 13, unless you are very attentive, or at least read through the Vyakhyanams of our Purvacharyas. If you don't read the commentary, we won't be able to connect these three. They would be away. They will be in their own islands. 5th chapter is an island by itself. It's an ocean, in fact. 6th is an ocean. 13th is an ocean. How do we relate these three oceans? That was possible by Ramanuja Bhashyam. Swami Ramanuja, who knew the intent of Bhagavad Gita, who read the mind of Sriman Narayana, Parthasarathi Gitacharya, was able to comment it, interpret it the right way. How did Ramanuja alone know this, Swami? There had been many great acharyas. How did Ramanuja come to know the intent of Bhagavad Gita and not others? Because Gita Acharya was the author of Bhagavad Gita. Ramanuja was none other than Gita Acharya reborn. Tiruvallikeni Parthasarathi Perumal took birth as Swami Ramanuja. This is what our Purvacharyas have said. This is what our hagiology reads. Kantimati Ammayar and Keshava Somayajiyar, the parents of Swami Ramanuja, visited Tiruvallikeni, stayed there, pleaded. They took a holy bath in Kairavani Pushkarani. Allikeni is the Pushkarani. Alli is a flower. Allikeni, that flower pond. The Pushkarani is very holy. Hope you all visited Tiruvallikeni, the great Parsarthi Perumal, the only deity who has a mustache on his face. No other deity. Virperu Vidavum, Kanjanum Mallum, Vedamum Pahamum Buida Chattavan Tannai, Purameri Sheida Shivanuru Tuyergalai Tevai, Pattalar Via Kolkayil Kondu Parthantan Termun Ninnane, Shittava Paniyal Mudidorandane, Tiruvallikeni Kandene. Tirumangiyalvar was so happy seeing Parsarthi Perumal in Tiruvallikeni, and in every Pasharam he was ecstatic. Tiruvallikeni Kandene, Tiruvallikeni Kandene, Tiruvallikeni Kandene. The last line ends as Tiruvallikeni Kandene, and we can also claim the same. Swami, whether we saw Parthasarathi Perumal in Tiruvallikeni or not, but Tiruvallikeniyil Ramanujarai Kandene. That much we can feel very happy. We were able to see Ramanuja. We cannot directly connect with Gita Acharya, but we can connect with Ramanuja, who is closer to us. The slokam in 5th chapter is Ihaiva Tairjitaha Sargaha Yesham Samye Sthitam Manaha. Yesham, to those Jivatmans. Samye Manam Sthitaha. If your mind rests in equality, to all the Atmans, to whom their minds rest in equality, they are absorbed in equality. Yesham Samye Sthitam Manaha Ihaiva Tairjita Sargaha. They have won this material world. They have won this samsara not by reaching Shivaikuntam, but when they live here. Ihaiva, in this very mundane world. Taihi, by those noble souls. Tairjita Sargaha, the birth and death are conquered by them. Jitaha, they have won over. They have raised above the cycles of birth and death. When is this possible? You can rise above when you have reached Shivaikuntha. Whereas Krishna says, Ihaiva, in this material world, you would have raised yourself. You still live here, but you have attained the status of a Mukta Jivatma. An Atma who is a Mukta will not bother about the body, as he has got released from this body. We are still in this body, in this samsara, but we have reached the glorious status. We have been blessed with the status of a Mukta. Ihaiva Tairjita Sargaha Yesham Samya Sthitam Manaha Nirdosham Hi Samam Brahma. Brahma, Atma. The word Brahma means Atman here. In this context, Brahmam word means Atman. Atman Nirdosham Hi Samam Brahma. Brahma, this Jivatma, is after all Nirdosham, blemishless. Dosham, blemish. Nirdosham, blemishless. This Atman is blemishless when it is samam, it is equal when it is devoid of the body. Not when it's along with the body. Along with the body, then you are under the influence of your past actions, past karma. But without the body, you cannot be influenced by your past karma. So nirdosham, Atmans have got no dosham. Dosham discriminates Atmans. One is tall, another is short. One is dark, another is fair. one is educated, another is ignorant. What causes all these differences? Dosham. That dosham is karma, past action. Once you remove that karma and the ill effect of the body, then taking the pure Atman, are they all not equal? The only difference is that there are three lights here. One here, one here, one here. All have the same color of light. The light they emit is of same color. Take a blue paper, a cellophane paper, a blue paper, paste it, cover it. Take a red paper, cover this. Take a green paper, cover this. Then you have a green light, a blue light, another red light. These lights differ now. They don't have the same light. They are not of the same color. Now, remove the color papers. You have the same light. Similar is the case here. If you are with the body, then you look different. Without the body, you are all equal. Nirdosham. So there is no dosham. The dosham was the colored paper. Once you remove the dosham, then the color of all these lights are same. So we have a colored paper. This body is that paper. Our anadikala karma is that paper. So if you remove that, nirdosham ki samam brahma, then all atmans are equal. Equal is fine. Will they have any attribute or not? They will. Now, what are the attributes we know when we are with this body? Kopam, tapam, kamam, many more. We have emotions, we fear, we are concerned, and we are quite angry, we are desirous, we aspire. There are so many qualities for this Atma. These are all the behavior. But once you are away from this body, once the body is removed, Swami, then what will happen to the Atman? Will he be like a stone? Will he be like a piece of wood without any emotion, without any concern, without any happiness or sorrow? Don't worry. There is a much better quality for this Atman which is eternal. The qualities which we have been talking are not permanent. They are all temporary qualities and very, very momentous qualities. They are not permanent ones. Atma has a more permanent quality. Jnanam, Anandam, Sheshatvam, Jnatritvam, Anandatvam, Sheshatvam. Jivatma is a Jnani. He has knowledge. He is very wise. And he is wise not because of this body. In fact, he turns wicked because of this body. If not, originally he is very wise. Originally, all the three lamps had the same color. After I removed the paper, Swami, I have lost green color. I have lost blue color. So the light is lost. Not at all. Light is still there. The difference was lost. Did we lose the light? So the lamp has a light inherent. It has it. Similarly, Atma is inherent. It has the quality, the original quality of Jnatritvam, Anandatvam. It is full of bliss. It is full of knowledge. It is full of absolute servitude to God. That is Seshatvam. It's absolutely, totally dependent on God. That's Paratantriyam. So dependency on God, servitude towards God, Jnatritvam, having knowledge, Anandamayatvam, of bliss, are the inherent qualities of a Jivatma. Now what happened? These qualities got covered by the body and karma. And we in fact mistook that Atma has no original qualities, has only these qualities which are new entrants. These are not his original qualities. These are all superimposed on the Jivatma. So we thought that these to be the original quality, and these qualities only divide. They don't unite. They are unique to every Atman. Whereas the other original qualities that I mentioned are not unique to any Atman, are common to all Atmans. So only when you step above, you will be able to realize that all Atmans are equal. If you have this hood, the cover of this body, then you will only divide. You will not unite. This is the meaning of this shloka. Ehaiva tairjita sargaha yesham samya sthitam manaha nirdosham ki samam brahma tasmat brahmani te sthitaha. So they all rest in peace. They all rest in Atman. They do not look at the body. If I look at something, I have trouble, then I will avoid looking at it. If I know if I look at something, I'm too happy, I will ensure that I do it. Similar is the case here. When your body divides, Arjuna, don't look at it. Forget it. Avoid it. When your Atman unites, when you feel equality looking at the Atman, better do that. So Krishna said the differentiation is brought out by the body. Don't look at it. Now he establishes equality. He says all Atman which are blemishless without the body are equal. This is the establishment of equality. Then on, he moves to the 6th chapter where he says, it is very important, Arjuna, that you realize this. If you do not realize, what would happen? If I don't realize that the original light of this lamp is yellow, and conclude and be assured and firmly believe that this has a green light, this has a blue light, this has a red light, then I am a confused person. I am not a wise person. Accordingly, I will take many actions wrongly assuming the light color. Similarly, if I see this Atman along with the body and think he is tall, so Atman should be tall. And think there is short, Atman should be short. Atman is not tall. Atman is short. Atman is Jnata. Whereas, since I did not realize that, I only set my eyes. I stop with the fact, whatever the fact known to me, which is short of truth. It is not truth. It is just a farce. But still, I am convinced that this Atman is his body. So whatever is the behavior as the body is the behavior of that Atman. This is a confused thought. If I am confused with that, then if someone shouts at me, abuses me, I get angry on him. Because I don't think about his original Jnatritvam, Anandatvam, Sheshatvam. Instead, I stop with the farce form of his. His farce form is that he will abuse me. His farce form is he will hurt me. That's not his original. His original is something else. So we pick up quarrels. We fight between nations. We would like to earn more. And we abuse people because I am born. I feel very egoistic. I feel haughty that I have studied a lot. I feel haughty that I can sing so well. I feel very egoistic that I have a lot of money. All this are caused by that one confusion. If you realize that all Atmans are equal, which they are, in reality they are. The problem now is me realizing that reality. If I realize that, then I start treating everyone equal. That brings happiness and satisfaction. If there is divisiveness, if there is any division, it is not for satisfaction. If there is unity, then it brings satisfaction. Krishna says, Sarvabhutastam Atmanan, Sarvabhuteshu cha Atmani. Sarvabhutastam Atmanam. Think like this, Arjuna. You are equal to all. All other Atmans are equal to you. In what aspects? You are also a Jnata, the others also Jnata. You have knowledge, the others also have knowledge. So you are equal in that. You are an Anandamaya, you are full of bliss, they are also full of bliss. But it is not so today. I have already cited the reason for it. The reason is the hood. The reason is karma, samsara. That is why we are not equal today. So, sarvabhutastam atmanam, sarvabhuteshu cha atmani. Think that you and others are equal. You and your neighbor, you and your classmate, you and your co-worker, all of them are equal as ikshate yoga yuktatma sarvatra samadarshanam. Sarvatra sama darshanaha. He who has the darshana, the vision of equality, is a yogi. As a yogi, you are able to see all equal. How? Whatever pains me, pains you too. Whatever, wherever you are pleased, that pleases me too. If I get a son, or if I get my daughter married, that pleases me. The same is with your case. If my father is dead, suddenly departs this material world, I am quite sad. The same is the case with any other Atman. So, our behavior is also the same. The degree may vary, but the pain or pleasure is the same. Krishna says to think that for a while. And also think, Arjuna, when you have something very happy, something to give happiness happens in your family. You are happy, but not your neighbor. He is not bothered. He is indifferent about whatever you had it. And if there is something sad that happened at home, your neighbor is not bothered. As he is not bothered about your happiness or sorrow, can you also think, since you are an equal Atma, can you also avoid being too happy or too sad for whatever happens at your home? This is a catchy situation. What Krishna represents is, Arjuna initially misunderstood Krishna. Krishna told, all your happiness and their happiness are one and the same. So Krishna, treat equally. So Arjuna thought, I am very happy if I get a child, but not by neighbor. So I think Krishna tells me, even if my neighbor gets his child, I must feel very happy. Even if my neighbor's father is dead, I must feel sad. Krishna, are you telling that? Krishna quickly refused. Not at all. The reason is, when you are happy or sad for happenings at your home, when you have only that much with you, your responsibility ends there. You are not happy or sad on the happenings of any other. When your responsibility is so limited, Arjuna, you don't approach me, you don't devote time to me. When I tell you that, feel happy for all your neighbors, feel sad for all your neighbors, then certainly you will not come to me at all. So that is not my intention. Change the way you look at it. You were happy for whatever happened in you, but you were not happy when your neighbor got a son. Similarly, you too don't feel happy when you get a son. What would happen? In the process, we would have stopped being happy or sad even for anything happening at home. Not only for others, not only for neighbors. Even for whatever happens at my home, I won't be happy. I won't be sad. Swami, what are you going to achieve by this? By samatvam. Sama shatraucha mitrecha. Krishna wants us to treat Shatru and Mitra, a friend and an enemy, equally. Tulya mana avamanayoho. Manam, respect. Avamanam, disrespect. Treat respect and disrespect equally. Shitoshna samadukkadaha. Shita and Ushna. Whether the weather is cold, pleasant, or it is hot, treat them equally. Similarly, treat Sukha and Dukkha equally. Sukha dukkhe same krutva labha labho jaya jayo tasmat yuddhaya yuddhasva naivam papam avapsasi. Treat happiness and sorrow equally. So Krishna listed what all should we treat equally. Similarly, if you treat all equal, whenever you treat something equal, then that will not disturb you. If you don't treat that equal, that would disturb you. This is the problem now.